All right, let's begin. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for making time to attend today's FEZANA talk session. My name is Tanya, and I'm the Chief Social Media Officer for FEZANA, which is the Federation of Zoroastrian Associations of North America. FEZANA represents 27 Zoroastrian associations across Canada and the United States, which is roughly 25,000 Zoroastrians in total. FEZANA Talks is a new digital initiative we launched this year to engage the Zoroastrian community with our youth in particular, in order for us to discuss topics pertaining to our religion, our diverse culture, and our community. And if you want to stay up to date on future events, just follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the FEZANA, and I will make sure I drop a link in the chat later. These talks we facilitate are a platform for people to simply share their thoughts, learn from each other, and also a safe place to have a dialogue. We will have a Q&A today, so I just ask that you post any questions you may have for our speaker in the chat. One thing I do need to mention is that FEZANA Talks does not take a stance during these talks, and any stances taken during a session are one's own, not necessarily FEZANA's. However, our mandate is to create an avenue to have these important discussions, and that is what we're doing today. And FEZANA is always happy to play a moderating and facilitating role. So it's an honor to introduce today's presenter, Mobedyar Mahshad Khosraviani. Mahshad is an active member of both the Irani and Parsi communities in Toronto and is an outspoken youth leader in the Zoroastrian community. In 2012, she was endowed with the honor of becoming the youngest female Zoroastrian Mobedyar in Iran and the first female Zoroastrian Mobedyar in North America. She is amongst the few ordained Mobedyars in the Zoroastrian community who is recognized by both the North American Mobed Council as well as the Iranian Mobed Council. Now, what's admirable about Mahshad is that despite facing heavy criticism throughout her journey to become a religious leader, she has chosen instead to focus on positivity, love, and joy, rather than engaging in anger and negativity. And that is what today's presentation focuses on: choice. Our ability as individuals to make choices has a powerful impact on not only our lives, but the lives of those around us. Mahshad's positive mindset and courage draws individuals into our faith, especially our youth. In fact, Mahshad's resilience and positivity personally brought me back to our community 4 years ago. Mahshad's message for Zoroastrian youth is to never settle, have courage, earn and grow from your setbacks, take responsibility for your actions, and live life to the fullest without taking it for granted. And with that, I'd love to now welcome Mahshad to chat with all of us.
Thank you so much, Tanya, for the kind introduction, and FEZANA for having me. And thank you all for joining me today. It's such an honor and privilege to have this opportunity to talk with you guys about the power of choice in Zoroastrianism. So today, I like to talk about choice, the power of choice. And I will do that by focusing on Yasna 30, verse 2, and dissect what the choice that our prophet has given us really means. So before I commence this talk, let's take a look at Yasna 30, verse 2, and see what it says. So I'm going to try and share this with you guys. So Yasna 30, verse 2. Listen with your ears the highest truth. Consider them with your pure minds carefully, and choose each man and woman personally between the two paths, good and evil. So choice. I want to emphasize the power of choice, because choice is the fundamental power of the human experience. We all make choices in our lives every day, both knowingly and unknowingly, from simple decisions like what to eat for lunch or where to go for dinner, to the heavier ones about who to be friends with and whether to change jobs. And there is a truth about what we must all remember. Everyone has the power of choice. It's a critical part of our self-development, and each and every one of the choices that we make shapes our experiences and brings us to where we are in life. One of the greatest things about having the power of choice is that if we don't like the place where we are in life right now, we can change it. because we are in the driver's seat. And we can actively and intentionally pursue different options for ourselves. We have the power to choose and live our dream life. So I think we need to put choice as an authority, as a power that is so huge that everyone should learn and be consciously aware that the power of choices we make have infinite consequences, from the smallest choice to something that is great and big. But here's the paradox. We have no idea what a little choice is or a big choice. What we are used to believing is that a big choice is an obvious one, like choosing a university, buying a house, or getting married. In fact, those are the small choices. The choices that actually matters when it comes to your mental or physical health, when it comes to your happiness, when it comes to positioning yourself, empowering yourself, are the choices that you think have the least power, that you make in the privacy of your own company, that perhaps you think are most insignificant, are in fact the most powerful choices of your life, that have the most powerful impact on your soul, on your sense of who you are, on your well-being, on your whole life. And yes, I am aware that this is a complex and controversial notion, one that can be discussed endlessly. But for today, for our purposes, I'd like to go through a list of choices that I sincerely think that matter and will make a difference, the big choices in life. So your choice, as we read in Yasna 30, verse 2, to choose between good or evil, to pick one path in life. Our prophet so wisely and eloquently worded this passage. The choice he speaks of is greater than one can ever put in words. When we say good, when we say bad, or in this case, evil, we are opening the gates to a universe that is beyond our imagination, because every word is a universe unto itself. The words we choose, good or bad, our words mixed with our beliefs blend to become our reality. What we speak over our life is what our life will become. So having said that, here is the first choice that I sincerely believe that matters. The choice to be aware of our words. So I attended a workshop back in grade 12, which honestly feels like a lifetime ago, where we were told to choose one word that we were willing to let go of and never use again. Never. To let go of everything that comes with that single word. And it didn't really matter whether it was 1, 2, 3, or 4 letters, we just had to pick one single word. It's a very simple exercise, yet profoundly intricate, and it's always been something that I revisit and think about. So I'd like to invite you guys to think about this exercise after you hear this talk. And think about if you really had to let go of one word out of your life, which meant you had to let go of everything that went with that single word and never use it again. What word would you choose? So let's say if you decided to let go of the word blue and you will never see blue again. You'll never see blue skies, blue ocean, blueberries, blue eyes, never again. But blue can also mean gloomy, downcast, depressed. The word blue, for example, carries both beauty and despair, and so do most words, depending on how we choose to utilize them. Now, when someone says your thought, your words are not powerful. Go to this exercise and then construct the words that you say to another person, word by word, and you'll realize how powerful every single word is, that not only you say to another person, but that you say to yourself, because every word is a universe unto itself. You're choosing these words. You have the power to choose the good or evil, to pick a path in life. You can either walk into a universe filled with misery, dissatisfaction, pain, anger, or choose to manifest positivity, love, gratitude, and wisdom through your words. So I really think that's what our prophet meant by good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. The path between good or evil. Because the word good is a universe unto itself, and everyone has a different interpretation of the word good. So, for example, I'm just gonna share something with you guys. So if I was to type in good, there are over 12,000 ways for one to use the single word good in their life. So for example, depending on how I use it in my sentence, in my day, it could mean fine. It could mean excellent, right, respectful, worthy, favorable. It could mean appropriate, sweet, cool. There are thousands ways of using a single word in our life, depending on how we choose to use it. So friendly, proper, pretty, tasty, acceptable. And that was just one word. Good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. Again, it depends how I choose to define that good in my life. We live in a world where we speak words and we don't even really think about what we're saying. We say things just to say them. We tweet what we want. We email what we want without understanding the impact of our words. Our words are powerful. We have the power or destroy one's happiness using only our words. So going back to that exercise, I believe that out of all the words known to mankind, there are three words that are absolutely lethal, which in my opinion, if we could extract these three words from our lives, I can promise that our thoughts, our words, and our deeds will significantly improve. I strongly believe that the three lethal words known to mankind are entitled, blame, and deserve. And one could benefit immensely by letting go of these three words. You have the power to make the choice to pick a path. Quickly. Gandhi once said, your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. So keeping that in mind, the reality is that we are not entitled to anything in life. Nothing. Blaming others, blaming anything will take you out of your present, and it will absolutely push toxic perceptions in you. The sense of entitlement will lead to a vicious cycle of distress as it allows for feeling frustrated, unhappy, and disappointment, which will further encourage us to blame others for our suffering and our unmet expectations that we so strongly believe that we are deserving of. By choosing the word blame and everything that goes with it, same with deserve and entitlement, we are unconsciously opening the gates to a universe that each of these three words hold. So choose wisely, because once a word is said, it can only be forgiven, not forgotten. For our words have the power to either plant a garden or burn a forest down. Choose each man and woman, personally between the two paths, good or evil. Yasna 30, verse 2. Okay, so the second choice that I genuinely believe that matters is the decision to actually live an integrous life. You might be saying that, well, I do live a good life, and I'm sure that's true, but I'm talking about full scale. I'm going to walk the way I talk. I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to live a life of integrity. Never mind this, speak my truth. I'm actually going to tell the truth. I'm going to live with integrity. I'm going to make my choices according to what I say I believe. I'm going to live, and what this means is that I'm not going to betray myself. I'm not going to compromise myself. I'm not going to put myself in a position or put myself in any circumstance that compromises my truth. It also means I won't force another person to be in a circumstance in which I know they're uncomfortable in order to please me, because that has no integrity. Now, let me tell you something, and I'm sure some people may disagree with me on this, but I believe liars don't heal. Liars don't heal. Dishonest people, people who lie, people who blame others for things that they do and they know it, people who make choices and they know another person is going to pay for the consequences of that choice, and they're conscious of it. And they know another person's going to be hurt by that. People who deliberately say things to hurt somebody. Believe you me, their body knows they did that. Their mind knows they did that. Their heart and soul knows they did that because they chose to. Integrity is about having your outer world reflect your inner world. And the first step is taking the time to explore and discover who you are. What is your unique inner being? What are the gifts that you alone possess and can contribute to the world and those around you? And then filter all this information through your own values, your version of a good life and a good person you can be proud of, whatever your definition of a good may be, but someone that you consider good and that you can be proud of. And the key here is your values, not copying those of others. Be aware and diligent when defining your values and goals. This is about having the courage of your convictions. The challenge here is shaping blunt values into clear behavioral principles. Creating integrity is not a forced march through life. It's about self-honesty, having the courage to hear and accept what your heart and your life are telling you so that you can fully become who you already are. Don't choose anything that will jeopardize yourself. Prioritize who you are and who you want to be, And don't spend time with anything that antagonizes your character. So make the decision today. Choose to live a life of integrity. Choose a path, good or evil. Next, I want you to choose to not pass your suffering, but your wisdom. Choose to not pass your suffering, but your wisdom. And this is honestly one of my favorites, because from the years of your life, choose to either pass on the wisdom you've learned, or you can pass on the suffering. So what do you pass on? The sludge or the wisdom? And that's up to you, because everyone has a choice according to Yasna 30 verse 2, good or evil. And believe me, I'm not saying that we don't have grief and we don't have pain. But if we look at life and all its glorious teachings and learnings, we see that life, that wonderful, rich thing that we want it to be, which is called fair. It will never be that. Although we each hold a different definition for what fair is, one that paints a perfect life that our heart desires. But life is not easy. Life is not fair. It never was. It isn't now, and it won't ever be fair. So don't fall into the trap, the entitlement trap of feeling like you are a victim, because you are not. And here's the thing. Some of the grief and injuries that have happened to people are so horrible, so unbelievable. And the truth is, nothing can make that go away. Nothing can make that better. The current pandemic, the year 2020, has been challenging on so many fronts, physically, emotionally, mentally. There's so much uncertainty and so much loss. All this stress, worry, panic, anxiety catches up to us. But we have the choice here to say that healing is not about ever forgetting those terrible things. It's not about forgetting. It's about choosing to look at what has happened to us and saying this will never defeat me, making the choice to grow stronger. It will never defeat me, and I have to somehow turn this into my source of wisdom, but I will not live in despair. I will not live in despair. And that becomes the choice. We have to choose a path, wisdom or suffering, good or evil. The next choice that I strongly believe that matters is the choice to forgive. Forgiveness is a powerful tool that we have at our disposal. Choosing to forgive is a tremendous choice. It's a path that carries phenomenal results, because forgiveness is a gift that you give to yourself. Holding on to anger, sadness, or frustration will only hurt us. To forgive is to set a prisoner free, and discovering that the prisoner is you. Choose to forgive not only others, but yourself too. Choose to love yourself. Choose to respect and fully accept who you are down to your core. Remember that you are not your behaviors or your emotions. We all make bad decisions and act poorly sometimes. Who doesn't? So choose to love yourself with all your flaws and imperfections, but it's also important that you take full responsibility for yourself. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about healing your heart. Choose to forgive. Choose to heal. Choose happiness. Choose love. Choose to let go of expectations. Choose to let go of anxiety, of fear and hate. Choose to let go of the past, for anger makes you smaller, while forgiveness forces you to grow beyond who you are. The next choice that I wish for us to undertake is the choice to take risks. Because what happens when people become ill and they feel their lifetime diminishing? They always hit regret. We always hit the regret stage. Oh, I wish I had done that. Oh, I wish I had gone there. Oh, I wish I had said this. We always hit that place as we begin to feel ourselves weakening. And we will hit the regret stage in which we visit the life we wish we had lived. And of the regrets that happen, and when all of us begin to diminish in our strength, is we review the life we wish we had lived. Had we taken risks? Had we not lived a life in which we make our decisions based on the fear of being embarrassed, fear of failing? What if I'm embarrassed by this? What if I can't take the consequences of this? What if I'm alone? What if this will cost me too much? Well, what if? Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found playing small, in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of. So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances without the fear of failure. Don't be afraid to think outside of the box, and don't be afraid to dream big. Choose to take risks, because the reality is that you will fail at some point in your life. You just have to accept it and learn from it. It will happen. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself, because I know I have multiple times. You will suck at something in life, and there's no doubt about it. But don't live your life in fear, because failure is the path to success. It's an opportunity to rise and grow. You only fail when you stop trying. Don't take the safe path in life. When you're making decisions about what to do next, don't look backwards, because there's nothing there. Don't look backwards on unsuccessful experiences. The reason you are where you are is because that part of your life is over. When it's time to make a decision, do not go to who you were, what you did, because it will pull you back, perhaps even to places that don't even exist, to images of yourself that are no more. You are not that person. What builds vitality, what builds the desire to live your life fully and be present, is for you to make the choice and say, it's time for something new. It's time to take risks. Life is a scary thing. Not necessarily the death part of life, but rather if you truly never lived it. So choose to take risks. Choose to laugh a lot and love a lot too. Choose to stay confident, to stand up for yourself and for what you believe in, and stand up for those who can't themselves. Every second that you spend being worried or upset is a second that you will never get back. So be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire, because one day your life will flash before your eyes. So make sure it's worth watching. Choose to take risks. Choose to live a life of integrity where you are in control of your thoughts, words, and deeds. Choose to have power over your words, for they are magic. Choose to pass on your wisdom, your strength, and your love instead of suffering. Choose a path that will lead to a happier you. And finally, make this choice. Choose this path. Choose to get up every day and bless your day. Choose to get up every day and bless your day and say, I have no idea what's going to be in my day, but it is blessed. Why? Because I am alive. And then remind yourself that this day of your life will never come again. I will never see the sunrise again. I will never see the person I'm having breakfast with again just this way. I will never see this person again just this way. No, nothing in my life will ever come again just this way. And that alone, that choice alone should take out of your heart every bitter taste there is, that it should shape your life with such grace and such beauty that it would only make you want to live your life with great gratitude and love. Make the choice, choose a path, because you have the power. Yasna 30, verse 2. Thank you.
Wow, Masha, that was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Incredible, incredible presentation. I mean, for anyone else who's been lucky enough to hear Masha more than once, you always remember her presentations. Her words are so eloquent. And they leave a long-lasting impression on you. I mean, you really have had such an impact on me personally, but I'm sure so many others. And the comments right now, I know people might not be able to see it, but people have been saying really positive things. And I'd love to go over some questions people have. And if anyone has any questions, please throw them in the chat right now. Thank you. So we're just going to take some more of your time just for you to answer a couple of questions.
Of course.
One of the first questions was, they were just wondering if you could repeat the 3 lethal words that you were going over.
So again, this is just my opinion, but I think deserve, entitlement, and blame are 3 words that have no positive impact on anyone's life in whatsoever. So again, this is my opinion, but I think those 3 words, if we could get rid of them, our lives, our thoughts, our words would be improved dramatically.
Really well said. One person left a comment saying that, you know, life can be taken away anytime, like we shouldn't take it for granted. So instead, choose to take informed risks to speak up for justice, compassion, change, and progress while you're still alive. So I thought that was really nice.
That's well said.
Another question was, in the Avesta text of 30.1 and 30.2, what is the word for good and evil? If you could go over that.
So there are different.
Yeah.
So there are many different translations of it. I don't have my Gata book in front of me right now, but the one that I used, well, the one that I copied my passage from was saying good or evil. So I can always look that up and forward it.
Okay. They're wondering, how can someone determine what is good?
Again, everyone's definition for good is different. That's why I shared. I mean, I can share it again. I mean, again, it depends how you want to use it in your life, in your sentence. So I could say, oh, this food was so good, and I mean delicious. I could say, oh, he's such a good person. I could also mean kind. Good is, there are many ways of defining good. Again, everyone has their own definition, and you just have to see what good means to you. How do you define that within your own life, within your own values, and then take that and apply it to your life. So that's the thing with Gata and Zarathustra's message. All he says is good thoughts, good words, and good deeds, but it's so profound. And the more I think about it, there are thousands different ways of defining good thoughts, good words, and good deeds.
Another question is, how do you recommend choosing people to work with and spend time with? I guess that's personal.
Yes. From experience, I'm actually very particular about who I choose to spend my time with. I like to have people in my life who bring me joy, positivity, and happiness. And I'm not saying that those relationships and friendships are always going to be like happy ones. There's ups and downs in all of them, but people who add to your life, people who don't cause you pain or sadness or cause problems within your life. So again, yes, this is a personal decision and choice, but this is through my own life experiences, and this is what I choose to do in my life today.
Really well said. For one person, I think today's talk made them really want to start reading the Avesta, and they're wondering if you personally had any recommendations for bilingual Avesta prayer books.
So there are multiple Avesta books that have both Farsi and English, and there are ones that's just English, depending on which part of the world you guys are from. There are also online links. I can always find, I mean, I have few saved, but I can forward it in the chat box later. Yeah, so there are a few really good ones that are English as well, or Farsi, depending on which language they're more comfortable with. But I don't think I mean, I'm not aware of anything that's been translated in other languages. And I know there are, I just don't have, I've never come across any myself. So if anyone has them, feel free to share.
One person asked where they can find more videos of your previous presentations you might have done in the past. They just loved hearing you talk and they want to hear more insights from you.
Thank you. So there are a few on FEZANA page on YouTube. And honestly, as long as you search my first and last name, everything's going to come up, whether it's on FEZANA or other accounts. But everything's available on YouTube.
One person's asking, what is the difference between deserve and entitlement? Do you have any insight on that? Or what do you personally believe is the difference?
And there are different ways of defining those two words. They could also be the same definition for both. So I deserve happiness, or I'm entitled to be happy, but I can only be happy if I work for it. If I put that out, if I put that energy out in the world, I can receive it. If I'm not a happy person myself, if I'm not doing good to those around me, there's no way I can expect to be happy. There's no way that I deserve happiness if I can't share that with someone else. So entitlement, deserve, and blame, in a way, they all go hand in hand, and everyone will have a different definition. So yeah, again, these are all in my opinions. These are just my experiences and things that I have come across in my own personal life that I just wanted to share with the Zora community.
Thank you. I really like this question. They're hoping to hear more about your personal journey. When facing criticism on your path, did you ever question whether yours was the wrong path? And how did you know you were on the good path?
Oh, well, this can go on for hours. So Tanya, yourself, you know, I've been through a lot, both good and bad. At the early days, related just to being a Mobedyar, not in my personal professional life, but just within the Zoro community, on like early days when I decided to become a Mobedyar, there were both supporters and people who were just very upset with my decision of becoming one. Yes, it did bother me at the beginning because also I was very young. I was only 17. But throughout my life, I've learned to just focus on the positivity, to focus on the love and support I get, because there's always going to be people there that will go out of their way to put me down, will go out of their way to say unkind words. And I'm guilty of spending hours reading comments and crying. I've done that multiple times. But at the end of the day, I rather focus on the positivity, because there is no good in thinking about the bad ones, and I can't move forward. No one can move forward, and I wouldn't be here where I am in life if I had focused on the bad ones. So whether it's work, personal, or my religious duties, I choose to focus on the good ones.
I think that's so well said, because I think people gravitate, right, towards others who choose to reflect positivity, right? You're more likely to gravitate towards them than those who always exhume negativity or criticism. So I think that's really well said. I think that's kind of what gravitates a lot of youth towards you as well, you know, to seek advice and to seek encouragement and more knowledge, because they know that you're going to choose to give it to them in a way that's open-minded.
Of course. I mean, it's not to say that there are no hardship in life. I mean, I still have my bad days. I still spend hours maybe crying over a terrible article or a comment, depending on where it was posted. But that's just the moment. Like, you're still meant to have your bad moments, because if you don't have the bad moments, you can appreciate the good ones. So if I don't have my time to cry or vent to a friend, then I can't move past it. But once I've moved past it, it's in the past. Like, I'm not going to dwell on it. And I think that's what people need to remember. We all have problems. We have to deal with it, get our emotions out, and then that's how you move.
That's really well said. Another question is, they're saying that they want to make a choice where they know it's going to hurt the people around them, but it's important too. How do they deal with that? It's like a conflicting, kind of like a dilemma, I guess, for them.
Oh, that's such a controversial notion. That can be debated for hours. Like, I don't know how to answer that. I wish I knew. I mean, we're all humans. We all make mistakes, but I sorry, I don't know how to answer that.
I guess that's fair. I think it's important that they kind of take away from your presentation to make the choice that they personally believe is right, and then learn from it. Really, that's the best way you can do it. If anyone has any other questions, I feel like I went for more. Oh, there's one more. Is blame different from accountability? Is, I think, the most recent one.
So I believe it is. Again, my definition, my way of utilizing that in my life may be so different than everyone else's, but I can take responsibility for my actions. I would want the other person to do the same. And I know I do blame others. I know there are times that unconsciously I'm like, well, it's his fault. She shouldn't have said that. She shouldn't have done that. But then that doesn't resolve anything. So as long as we can all take responsibility for what we've done, what we've said, the pain we've caused, we can only hope that others would do the same. Again, it's something that I work on every day. No one's perfect, neither am I. I have a lot of flaws and imperfections. I do hurt people at times, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally. And all we can do is work on ourselves and hope that we become a better version of ourselves than we were yesterday. So.
Oh, that's well said. Just trying to scroll back up. There's a lot of questions coming in. One question is, based on your insights of choice, is it better to choose a hard or easy life?
Well, depends. What's your definition of easy or hard? I don't know. Well, again, what does hard mean? I guess to have an easy life, you need to go through hardship. So an example would be, you need to go through, like, it's just one example. So through my own experience, going through high school, university, post-grad, it was just like, oh, it's hard. Like, I have no social life. It's a lot of hard work, but then I have an easy life now. So you need to go through hardship, whatever that is, because there is no easy without hard. There is no rainbow without the rain. So again, everyone would have a different interpretation of these words and situations. Some may have loved high school and university. I did not.
That's fair. Yeah, it's very personal. What made you decide to become a Mobedyar? Was it a calling you had, an awakening, or that our community and the world needs to know more about Zoroastrianism?
Again, this is such a big topic of discussion, and I know it comes up often. Maybe it's something that we could talk about more in detail on another FEZANA talk. But one of the biggest reasons, and that's one of the many, from the very young age, I always felt there was a gap between men and women within our community, within our religion, even though there's no mention of it in the Gathas, with it, like historic records. And I've always wondered why. And I kind of wanted to change that because I didn't want to have, I wanted to make a difference where my kids, whether I have boy or girl, I don't know, I wanted to feel equal. And I know this is a battle that it's going on everywhere, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's within the community. It's human right. I think it's not dependent on our gender, our race, our sexual preference. I think humans all should be equal. So that was one of the many reasons that I wanted to become a Mobedyar. At the time, I wasn't aware that there were 8 other females training in Iran because I started my studies here in Canada. I was 17. So by the time I finished, 3 years later, when I went back to Iran to do my final set of tests, I realized there were already 8 in Iran, which was amazing news because I felt like, oh my God, thank God, this is going to be so much easier for me. And in a way it was. But yeah, so that was one of the many reasons. And maybe, again, this is something we could discuss in future because I don't want to keep everyone waiting.
We have time. We have like at least another 15 minutes. If anyone still has questions. One question that came up was like, what are some choices we all as Zoroastrians can make to ensure that we keep people engaged in our community instead of leaving? For example, how can we create an ecosystem, an environment that encourages people to stay and become Zarathushtis in the first place?
So by stay as in our youth, or
I guess we can focus it more on youth just to pinpoint it somewhere.
So again, this is something I've always talked about, and it's always been something that I promote, is that we need to be open, welcoming, and understanding. And I know there is different opinions on this matter. And again, this is my personal opinion and something that I like to encourage, and well, at least something I will tell my own kids, that no matter what happens, as long as they're good humans, as long as there are kind humans, and sometimes, at least within this world of multicultural in Canada, US, Europe, it's not as easy to find a partner within the Zoro community. So I would never limit my own kids to finding a Zoro partner. If they do, that's amazing. It's such a blessing. But if they don't, as long as they're happy, they're in love, I'm not going to say you're not a Zoroastrian. Your kids are not going to be a Zoroastrian. Because if I say that to my daughter and my son, let's say, for example, who does also marry out, and his kids would be considered Zoros, but not my daughters, that goes against the tenets of good thoughts, good words, good deeds, the equality that our prophet set forth. So I think that's one of the things we can start doing, being inclusive, being welcoming, being open. And maybe our youth wouldn't be so, they wouldn't be in a rush to leave the religion, or they won't feel like they're not included or accepted. And unfortunately, I see that a lot, and that's just sad. Because if we don't accept them, whoever they marry with, or their faith or their culture, will accept them. So in a way, they're just going to leave. And that is the first step we can take to prevent it. There are many other, but I think that is one of the biggest ones.
Thank you. I think that's really well said. I feel like we're going to have another presentation with you because there's so many questions wanting to know about your journey on becoming a Mobedyar. So we'll definitely make sure that happens. So I'm not ignoring those questions, everyone. There's just so many. So I will make sure we have a whole entire presentation dedicated to that. I guess one of the last questions asked is, how can we connect with you? Do you have social media you're active on? What's the best way to stay in touch with you and know, what's happening in your life, any other future presentations you might do?
So I am on Facebook, Instagram. You can always reach out through WhatsApp or my email account, which is pretty much my first name underline my last name at hotmail.com. And I always try to, if it's a religion related activity, I always post it on my social media so all my friends and family would be aware. Other than that, yeah, always reach out through email or WhatsApp, and I would love to get to know you guys better.
Awesome. Thank you, Masha. Thank you so much for the time today to present this incredible presentation, for sharing your insights, your wisdom, your knowledge, and teaching us, how powerful choice can be and to use it for the right things in life. I'm sure everybody here has absolutely enjoyed it. I have so many comments just absolutely praising this presentation. I'll share with you afterwards. So thank you. Thank you, Parshan, for being my lovely co-host. He's quietly, taking care of everything. And thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who's attended today. You guys have been an amazing audience. I always appreciate you attending all our FEZANA talks. If you want to stay in touch and be aware of more talks in the future, especially more with Mahshad, I just ask that you follow us on our Instagram and our Facebook, which is at the FEZANA. And I'm just going to drop the links here, take you directly there. Thank you, Mahshad. It's been an absolute honor to have you here today.
Thank you for having me, and thank you everyone for joining. Honestly, this is absolutely a privilege to have had the opportunity to talk with 153 people. Thank you. I know this is a Saturday. I'm sure you guys all have exciting plans, but much appreciated. Thank you so much. And thank you, Tanya, FEZANA, for having me. Honestly, it's such an honor. Thank you.
Most welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.